Speakers Toastmaster Club. I'm delighted to welcome so many of you to our workshop tonight. We've got 100 booked, so I hope we're going to see 100 here. I first met Andrew, a distinguished Toastmaster, 10 years ago when I was a baby Toastmaster and I was mentoring a club on my way to get my DTM. And Andrew was the sponsor. And I was totally in awe of him. Today, I'm a grown-up Toastmaster, and I'm still totally in awe of him. I will read you his bio, and you will know why. Andrew P. Bennett has travelled the world as a professional classical speaker and singer, appearing at the world's great festivals in Europe, Asia, and South America. He has faced the challenge of using his voice in opera while standing on a tiny platform 50 meters above the stage, but also on stage lying flat on his back. What the producer wanted, the producer usually got. He has performed in open-air theatres, seating thousands and tiny venues where the audience seems to be sitting in your lap. He knows how to adapt to all vocal circumstances. As a qualified public speaking and voice coach, he has shared his vocal know-how with people of many cultures in varied contexts, conference centres, theatres, and recording studios. There is a Chinese proverb, "The tongue can paint what the eyes can't see." It is therefore vital that as speakers, we learn to optimize our vocal presence to inspire the audience. Andrew will bring his vocal expertise to guide us in that quest. Tonight, you will hear and experience your voice working in a fresh, new way. Andrew will lead us. Please welcome Andrew Bennett.
Thank you very much for your welcome, President Coralie, and welcome to everybody to your engaging voice. I want you to teach me how to throw my voice. So said a gentleman to me once. Now, only respect for that gentleman stopped me from saying, throw your voice? But where? How do you throw a voice? But he was very worried because he'd been told that his voice was rather monotonous. It sat on one note a lot and there wasn't a lot of volume. Lots of speakers have faced that challenge in the past and will do in the future too. I would like to help us this evening with that magical term, vocal variety. We hear it a lot at Toastmasters International. People give evaluations. They say he, she needs more vocal variety. But unless someone shows you what to do, how do you make that recommendation into a reality and part of your speaking skills? The workshop this evening will be in two sections. First of all, we're going to do a warm-up routine that you can use when you're preparing for your speeches and also on a regular basis so that you train your muscles a bit like an athlete for your speaking. We are going to hear also from two speakers this evening, two volunteer prepared speakers. We have Kavita Dulai and we have Mick Salami this evening. They're going to share speeches with us and I'm going to coach them vocally. We're going to have a breakout moment and that will be a time of trying out some exercises together and getting some commendations and recommendations. Do you know, we've got a lot to accomplish in your engaging voice this evening. But the first thing is to take your sip of water. Start you off. I hope you all have your glasses of water, your bottles of water. Your voice only works well when there is humidity. This is why I make you take sips of water throughout the workshop. Some people say to me, well, I don't feel thirsty. It's not about feeling thirsty. It's about creating the conditions for your voice to work well. I'm setting my little timer here. In about 50 minutes, we shall have a little break together, a little breather as well before we go into our table topics section of the meeting. But we're going to start out with the warm-up session, and the warm-up session starts at the feet. You want your feet nicely placed on the ground, no wider than shoulder width apart. If you like, you can do what I'm doing right now. I'm kicking off my shoes so that I can feel better contact with the floor. And as you're in your own home tonight, why shouldn't you kick off your own shoes? There you go. Let's feel good contact with the floor. Excellent. So no wider than a shoulder width apart. I'm going to guide you through the very first exercise. I'm going to show you the first one, then guide you through it. All our exercises in a warm-up are slow and gentle. If you have any issues with your back, your neck, feel free to drop out for an exercise and come back in when it's comfortable for you. Only go as far as is comfortable for you this evening. We are trusting you to do what is right for you. Here we go. I'll show you the first one. It's very easy. I drop my head onto my chest. I take it to the right, back to the center. I go to the left, to the center. And slowly I bring my head up. And the reason I do it slowly is because the head is the heaviest part of your body. So this is a warm-up. We don't want to do any movements that are too quick. Here you are. You ready to go with me? I can see everyone on a gallery view here. You're all looking great. And off we go. First exercise. Right. So just drop your head onto your chest. Off you go. Lovely. Take it to the right. And center. And left, and center, and slowly back upwards, gently, gently, and just breathe out nicely. Good, excellent. We're going to do an extended stretch now. This is the one that I like to call looking for the axe murderer. Okay, I'll show you what I mean. You'll see what I mean in a minute. I look over to my right, I go as far as is comfortable, and I come back. Over the left we go, looking for the axe murderer, far as is comfortable, and come back. You give it a go. Okay, here we go. Over to your left. Let's start on the left this time. Lovely, good stretch. And then back to the center, gently. And to your right. Excellent work. And back to the center. That's very good. Now we're going to ease our shoulders a little bit. What I'm really doing, when you're sat in front of your computer and you're working, do you know that knot that you get in the back of your neck? I'm kind of undoing that knot because your spine is actually attached to all the cartilages that work your voice box. So if we can just open things out, you'll have a much freer voice already by doing these exercises. Here we go then. So we're going to just bring our shoulders forwards. And then back. It's nice and gentle. You have a go. Come on. Forwards. And then back. Isn't that nice? Oh, we're opening everything out on our spine and our back. That's just great. And what's happening actually is, as we do this together, your spine is elongating, which is great. And you can think of a connection, if you like, going from your well-planted feet, up the back of your legs, through your spine. Shoulders are nice and back and relaxed, and your head is crowning your body. Okay, let's see that. Let's just do a little bit more working of our shoulders, make sure we've all got it. Lovely. You're starting to look absolutely great. Good posture makes everything much easier for us. We're going to wake up our faces now because I promise you that a really dull, flat face, you think about if you're waiting for the bus, for instance, on a sort of coldish day and people are just standing at the bus stop and their faces are all very dead, aren't they? Well, a dull, boring face doesn't produce a nice, warm, resonant voice. So we're going to wake our face muscles up. Here we go. I'm going to screw my face up into a ball and slowly, slowly, slowly release each muscle till it comes back to normal, or what looks normal to me. Here we go. So I want you to screw your face up into a ball. Come on then, let me see them. Really go for it. Oh yes, excellent work going on there. And slowly, slowly, slowly. That's it, just muscle by muscle release. It's quite a nice feeling, isn't it, actually? I can see you also. Let's do it one more time. Let's just really screw your face up into a ball. and release. Lovely. We're going to have a little think now about our breath. Now, I'm going to teach you, first of all, we're going to do it the wrong way, because I think you should do it the wrong way at least once, because then you'll learn quicker the right way. So what I want you to do, I'm going to count to 3, and I want you to take as much breath as you can. I want you to fill yourself with air. So 1, 2, 3, breathe, breathe, breathe. Go on, take it in. Oh, isn't that uncomfortable? You couldn't speak on that, could you? How could you speak on that? What's more, you start pumping the air out even quicker because you've got all asthmatic-y and high in your chest. Just relax. Breathe out. Now we're going to learn to do it properly. So, the way I teach you to do this, there is your thumb. It can be your right hand or your left hand. I do not worry. There is your thumb. Please place it at the side underneath your lowest rib. Your lowest rib at the side. All right. Good. Keep your shoulders nice and back and relaxed as you do it. Let's maintain our nice buoyant posture. That's nice to see. And I'm just going to show you the next finger to the thumb is that one, isn't it? Can you put that finger in the socket of your hip? So you've got one under the lowest rib and one under the socket of your hip. Right? Breathe out. Always breathe out before you breathe in. You'll be in trouble otherwise. Okay, and when we take the breath in a second, you are going to feel a bit of expansion and lift at the rib cage. Okay, nice relaxed shoulders and back. Here we go. Breathe out and breathe in. Gentle breath, not too much air. Nice gentle breath. You can imagine you're sniffing a flower if you like. That's quite a good one to do. And breathe out. Here we come. One more. Can you feel that expansion down at the rib cage? Now that is what I call a nice low-ribbed, well-positioned breath. It's not high and asthmatic-y. It's not going to trap your voice here. It's the kind of breath we need when we're going to deliver our speeches. And if you're nervous before you deliver your speech, find somewhere in the room and just concentrate, focus on that low breath for a little while, because it should calm you. Don't do it for more than 1 or 2 minutes, because you might get a bit lightheaded. But just 1 or 2 minutes of focusing on nice low breathing. Well, it's the kind of breathing that opens the door to vocal variety, actually, and to gaining range for our voices. So we've had a nice think about our breathing. Good. You can now relax that hand and relax that arm. Okay, you've felt the feeling. If you need to remind yourself of that feeling, well, you can use your thumb and finger again, but gradually, you see, you will get used to that feeling without needing the thumb and finger there. It's like your muscle memory when we're training to do sports and things. Your memory you will remember it. Okay, great work. We're going to turn our breath into sound now. We're getting advanced. I always suggest at this part of your warm-up that you hum a few lines of your favourite song. I had to decide on a song that we would all know today. So we're going to do Happy Birthday to You, because we all know that. Now, the good thing is you are in your home, you're on mute, nobody can hear you, and I don't mind what your singing voice is like. That's not the point. The point is we're going to make some resonant sound with our breath now. So I'll lead the way. We're just going to do the 2 lines, you know. Are you ready? Remember that nice buoyant posture we found? That's right, shoulders back and relaxed. Lovely, you're all looking good. Ready? Let's go. 1, 2, 3, breathe. Good work. We can get it even better, I'm sure we are. What we're going to do now, you know when it's a cold day and you blow your lips out and you go, we're going to loosen the lips here, help with the articulation and get a bit more resonance in the hum. So I'll count to 3. You're going to take a nice low-ribbed breath and we're going to go 1, 2, 3. Go on. Let it roll. That's it. I know sometimes it's tougher. Your thought has to match up with the physical thing of what you're doing, and sometimes it's a bit difficult. But you're doing very well. Let's just do that again. Breathe out. Breathe in. We can let it roll. Let it roll. Oh, lovely. Yes, that's a good one. Great. Now we're going to do our 2 lines of happy birthday and see if we've got a bit more resonance. And the other thing that we'll be adjusting as we do that is your ear. Because sometimes when we lack a bit of tone in our voice and when we're a bit monotonous, it's because our ear is a bit lazy. A lot of the speech in everyday life is very mundane. It's not exciting at all. And so we don't have to make any effort. But when we do these sorts of exercises, we wake up our ear as well. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Let's continue. Well done. Good. We're making very good progress here. What we're going to do now is we're going to make some voiced consonants with vowels. Now, voiced consonants are the ones you can make a sound on. So M, which is we've just been doing a bit of that with humming. N, and L, okay, those are our voiced consonants. You can make a real sound on them, as opposed to the clipped consonants, the unvoiced consonants, which are things like D, T, which cut the word. Okay, so we're going to use the voiced consonants because they help to get more resonance for us. I'm going to say a line. You're going to repeat after me. It's nice and easy. Me, me, ma, mu. Your go. Me, me, ma, mu. Good. Remember the humming we had a minute ago? You've got a real nice quality on your Let's make it, it's only an exercise. Let's make that M really nice and rich. Come on. I'll do it again for you. Me, me, ma, mu. Your turn. Me, me, ma, mu. Great work. We move on to the N. Ni, ne, na, nu. Your go. Ni, ne, na, nu. Excellent. Before we go on to the L, I've got a little trick for you. First of all, we're going to relax our jaw just as far as is comfortable. You don't need to open up too wide. Great. I'm going to let you stick out your tongue. You know the thing your mum said you should never do? Well, you're going to do it tonight. You're going to stick out your tongue, and then you're going to take it to the right, and then the centre, and the left, and the centre. And then you're going to have a good swallow, because you need to. Let's do it again, okay? I'll show you once. I can't say it and do it at the same time, so I have to line it out for you, but let me show you. Look. Okay, got it? Here we go. So let's go. Poke our tongue out, relax your jaw to do it. To the right and centre, and to the left and centre, and a bit of a swallow. There you go. The reason I get you to do this is because the base of your tongue is attached to all the cartilages around the voice box. So, and sometimes the base of our tongue gets very stiff and we produce quite a tight sounding voice. So we release it straight away in this workshop. That's good. Now we can do the L sound. We're going to do li, le, la, lu. Are you ready? Good. Nice low ribbed breath as well. Nice posture. Li, le, la, lu. One more time with you. Li, le, la, lu. Excellent. And we're going to round this little section up with pattering some consonants. Now, I'm very aware that quite often we speak with microphones and you hear people doing that horrible spitty sort of sound in the microphone, don't you? It goes pop, pop, pop. Sometimes we speak in rooms. It really doesn't matter. The most important thing with consonants is that they're light and crisp. They don't spit and spatter at you. In fact, spitty, spattery consonants get lost in a big room. And they certainly sound very horrible in a microphone. What we do is something nice and light and precise, and that's what we're going to do now. So I'm going to line it out for you, and you repeat it after me. Here we go. Pitter, patter, potter. Pitter, patter, potter. Good. Flipper, flopper, flatter. Flipper, flopper, flatter. And the last row. Clipper, clopper, clatter. Clipper, clopper, clatter. Now we're going to do something very clever. We're going to do them all. Are you all ready? I'll line it out each time for you. Here we go. Pitter, patter, potter. Pitter, patter, potter. Flipper, flopper, flatter. Flipper, flopper, flatter. Well done. Clipper, clopper, clatter. Clipper, clopper, clatter. Good, well done. Water time, everybody. Great. At this point in the session, we're going to do just a little rhyme. It's a nonsense rhyme, but this is the rhyme for opening up your range and playing around with your voice to see just what special qualities we can find. I'm going to line it out to you, and you are going to repeat after me. We're going to build it up and we're going to play with this. It's a little bit of a word game, okay? Here we go. Remember, nice buoyant posture. Remember that low rib breath that we started on at the beginning? I'm going to really pester you on that this evening so that you get it. Right, here we come. Does the man in the moon like music? Your turn. Does the man in the moon like music? Does he tootle on his flute or does he croon? Does he tootle on his flute or does he croon? Good. Let's take that line again. Does the man in the moon like music? Your turn. Does the man in the moon like music? Enjoy all the sounds. Enjoy the M's, the N's. We're going to have some L's in a minute as well. Make music with the sounds. Enjoy those voice consonants. Does he tootle on his flute? Does he tootle on his flute? Or does he croon? Your go. Or does he croon? Well done. Does he slip in something lunar? Your turn. Does he slip in something lunar? In the way he plays his tune. Your go. In the way he plays his tune. Or does he simply sit and doodle? Your turn. Or does he simply sit and doodle? On the moon. Your turn. On the moon. Good. We'll do the second part of the rhyme, just so you get more familiar with that. So we'll go, does he slip in something lunar? Your turn. Does he slip in something lunar? In the way he plays his tune? In the way he plays his tune? Or does he simply sit and doodle? Or does he simply sit and doodle? On the moon. On the moon. Well done. This time I'm going to line it out. We're really going to play with it. I'm going to take you up and down and round about. As I say, I'm adjusting your ear, getting you ready for vocal variety. Okay? Here we come. Does the man in the moon like music? Your go. Does the man in the moon like music? Does he tootle on his flute? Or does he croon? Or does he croon? Does he slip in something lunar? Does he slip in something lunar? In the way he plays his tune? In the way he plays his tune? Or does he simply sit and doodle? Or does he simply sit and doodle? On the moon. On the moon. Well done, everybody. Great work. You can take that rhyme, and let me tell you, after our session today, you're going to be receiving 2 articles from me, and one of them is the Vocal Variety Chasing Monotony article, and that rhyme is in it. In fact, it's a summary of the workout we've done today, plus some things to add on in the future so that you can keep progressing, and you're going to be getting that after the workshop. Good work, everybody. I would like at this stage to introduce our first prepared speaker to the stage. And our first prepared speaker this evening is Kavita Dulai, who is actually the president of Watford Speakers. And I'm delighted to see Kavita. Kavita, do unmute and come to the speaking space, please. Kavita is going to give us a 2-minute speech extract, and then I'm going to work with her vocally on that speech extract.
Can I just correct something, Andrew?
Yes.
I'm an ex-president of...
You're an ex, sorry.
That's okay.
Once a president, always a president.
True. That is true.
Okay, Kavita, would you like to give us your speech extract, which is about things not always appearing as they seem and not judging things as they seem? I'm handing over to you, Kavita.
Have you ever judged a book by the cover? For example, perhaps you were given a book when you were so high. It had a boring title, a bland cover, and even the first chapter was completely lifeless. But then perhaps you went to the library and picked out a book with the most exquisite cover you could ever imagine, and it just didn't live up to expectations. Unfortunately, so many of us judge a book by the cover, literally sometimes, and life just doesn't live up to expectations. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, you could say my career has been a bit like that. See, I'm in the world of medical sales. I used to think medical sales was all about driving BMWs, wearing nice clothes, and dishing out free pens. But how wrong could I have been? That glamorous picture, my friends, was painted to me by my GP aunt, Dr. Chakra. Secretly, I think she just wanted me to get a job. Picture this, it's autumn 2012. The leaves still have their trees, the trees still have their leaves, and the sun is shining, and I have just started a new job. The reality is, this is day one, and I am sitting there twiddling my thumbs, and suddenly the phone rings, and it's a medical emergency.
Great, Kavita. Thank you very much. Now, let's make a start together on this. Well done. Great start. In your opening section, you've got lots of dull, lifeless words because you're describing a very boring book. What I want to do in this opening paragraph really is to make your intentions match up with your voice so that things come together. Because I noticed that when you said it's a boring title, a dull cover, and even the first chapter was lifeless, there was quite a lot of energy in your voice. And in fact, that's the sentence where everything is playing out and playing downwards, isn't it? You think you've got the boring title, oh, it's a dull cover, oh, and the first chapter was lifeless, oh. So we have to make our intentions and our voice match up together there. Afterwards, you've got a really good contrast for me because you've got another one. It's got a stunning cover, and that's exciting vocally, isn't it? A stunning cover. But it doesn't meet your expectations. So you've got the boring one, which is really boring. Everything's boring. And then, but it was brilliant. And you've got also the contrast that you can find with the stunning book. Oh, it looks fantastic. Didn't meet my expectations. If you can give me those two ideas, it will influence the quality of your voice and it will influence the tone of your voice. You know, learning about vocal variety and learning about this is about expression. It's about expression, really. So how about if you give me, do you want to start from the beginning? Because that will set you off nicely. You know, have you ever judged a book by a cover? So make sure you give me the really boring bit, but hey, it was brilliant. And the really fantastic bit, and hey, it was a real disappointment. Can you give me those contrasts?
Yeah, sure.
Off you go.
Have you ever judged a book by the cover? Perhaps when you were so high, you were given a book that was so boring with a boring title, and even the first chapter was completely lifeless. Then perhaps, on the other hand, you picked up a book that had a splendid cover and it looked so exciting, but it just didn't reach your expectations.
That's going in the right direction, Kavita. Unfortunately, you missed out that the dull, boring book was brilliant, because you've got a pause there as well. And that pause helps you to turn your thought, and it turns the vocal variety. Yeah, boring title, dull cover. First chapter was lifeless. Then it turned out to be brilliant. that moment that you pause is filled with intention. And I'm going to be saying something about pauses later on in the workshop. Give it another go and see if you can fit that in this time for me.
Okay, fine. Have you ever judged a book by the cover? Perhaps when you were so high, you were given a book that was just boring, lifeless. Even the first chapter was so dull. And then it turned out to be the most exciting book you'd ever read. But on the other hand, you picked out the most splendid book with the most splendid cover, and then it just didn't live up to your expectations.
That's it, Kavita. That's going in the right direction because it allows you the time to turn the thought. And if you turn the thought, you get the range and the quality, and you get the change of the intention in the voice, which is what we're working on this evening. That's very, very good. Okay, you then had later on, you have a thing about a glamorous picture. I want to feel that, oh, it was a glamorous picture was painted. You know, it was a marvellous picture that was painted by my aunt who's a doctor. Oh, what a glamorous picture she painted of it. Oh, well, actually, it didn't turn out to be that way, did it? What you've given me here actually is a great extract to work on because it's permanent contrast. Can you just play around with that one for me? So I used to think selling medical selling was all about dressing nicely. Play it up a bit more. Enjoy yourself. Have a bit more fun with the vocal variety. Come on.
See, I used to think medical sales was all about dressing nicely, driving BMWs, and dishing out free pens. But how wrong could I have been? That picture, my friends, was painted to me by my aunt, who was a GP, Dr. Chakraborty. Secretly.
Kavita, that's great. How do you feel when you do that, when you do it that way? How does it feel to you? Does it feel a bit too much or?
No, I think what it is, I fear going into that. I've written the words because I know the words are quite creative, and I know I like writing the contrast. But when it comes to performing or speaking it, because speaking is a type of performance, a performance of yourself, your inner self. I get a bit worried, scared. I don't know why.
Well, I'll tell you, it won't ever be too much if you live it from inside. The only time it becomes too much is if we try to put it on from outside. But you were doing the right thing. You were speaking with intention, and that is the way that it works. And what happened then was that I think also we underestimate how much energy we need to get through the camera lens when we're online as well. I will say that. But what happened really nicely there was you were engaged in what you were saying, and it came to life for us because we could see the picture that you were painting. So that is, honestly, it doesn't need to be any less than that, okay? You've done some great work there. I'm going to have to move on to the next exercise now. But Kavita, thank you very much. And let's just give jazz hands and clapping and waves to Kavita. Come on, she's put herself up to be the volunteer tonight. Well done, Kavita. Excellent work. That was a pleasure. Great. We're going to move on now, and we're going to do a game called the meal game. You are going to be delighted because for this one, I allow you to unmute. Isn't that nice? We're going to create some camaraderie in the group by unmuting. Now, did you see on the preparatory notice, I asked you to bring your teddies or your pictures of someone you like? There you are. I can see some teddies there. Yes, I can see Mr. Brewer with his teddy. I would expect Mr. Brewer to have a teddy, yes. Hey, I've got Clifford with a dog. Yes, that's great. I'm seeing them all. Well, this is not because Andrew has completely taken leave of his senses, though that will happen one day. This is because I want you to have an audience, and I don't want you glued to your gallery view when you're doing the next exercises. So this is your audience, a friendly audience. I've done some TV presenter courses as well, and they always teach you to speak to a friend behind the camera lens. Well, you're going to have a friend by your computer this evening. The meal game. Let me tell you what we do so that you can follow. I am going to give you an element of the meal, and you are going to say it with the vocal quality that I describe. You're going to say it to your picture, your teddy, your dog, whatever. Okay? So I give you the element of the meal, and then you say it with the quality that I describe, and we're going to start matching vocal qualities with words. This is a bit of fun and we are going to enjoy ourselves now, okay? So the first element of the meal is a bowl of soup. But it's not just any old bowl of soup. It's the funniest bowl of soup you've ever seen in your life. So I want to hear from you a really hilarious bowl of soup. Say it to your Teddy. Bowl of soup. Come on, let me hear you. Bowl of soup. Let it roll. Let's have a laugh.
Bowl of soup.
Bowl of soup. Yes, exactly. Hilarious, really. Think about it. Really, so but it's a hilarious thing, a bowl of soup, isn't it? Yes. Exactly, a bowl of soup. Well done, everybody. And the next one is cold roast lamb. Cold roast lamb, but not just any cold roast lamb. It is freezing. So cold, it's impossible. So from the intentions inside you, I want freezing cold roast lamb, please. Give me a frozen cold roast lamb. Freezing. Cold. Think of the snow last week. Freezing. That's freezing cold roast lamb. Yes. Oh, but after that, I allow you to come back inside and you're going to have apple crumble. And it's the warmest apple crumble you've ever tasted in your life. It's a lovely, warm vocal quality because it's warmest apple crumble. Enjoy the M's and the W of warmest. Enjoy all the sounds we're playing with our voices. Warmest apple crumble. You say it to Teddy. Warmest apple crumble. Your warmest quality. Oh, yes. As you do it, don't forget that nice low ribbed breath you can really feel in your tummy. Warmest apple crumble. Like it, I like it. Lovely. I don't know about you, but since we had this pandemic land on us, everything has gone up. The prices have gone up in the shops. We're going to have cheese and crackers. Cheese and crackers. But it's absolutely outrageous, the price of cheese and crackers in the shop. So I want to hear your outrage now. Cheese and crackers, outrageous. Cheese and crackers, off you go.
Cheese and crackers. Outrageous.
Absolutely outrageous. The price of cheese and crackers. Crackers.
Absolutely outrageous.
Outrageous. I agree with you. Outrageous. Oh, well, after all that eating and outrage as well, we need to wind down a bit. So we're going to have a glass of port. And our glass of port is very sleepy. We're winding down. I want your sleepiest voice. You can have a little yawn if you like. A glass of port. Give me a nice sleepy glass of port. Glass of port. That's it. Glass of port. Really sleepy. Oh, yes. And that relaxes everything down with the voice as well. And you get a richer voice with a glass of port like that. Well done, everybody. Some excellent work now. I'm going to ask you all to mute because we're having our second prepared speaker. Make sure you're muted for me. And I am going to call Mick Salami to the speaking space, please. Mick, you're allowed to be unmuted.
Thank you.
Here he comes. Hi, Mick. Nice to see you this evening.
Thank you.
And you are going to speak in praise, which is something I like to hear done. So you're speaking in praise this evening. We're all going to listen to Mick's speech extract now.
Here I go. One of the greatest modern philosophers, motivational and human character development successors will have to be L. Nightingale. He was an American radio personality and show host, a public speaker and author. And he was considered to be the dean of personal development, partly because of the way he modeled a meaningful existence. L went on a journey in search of success. Within this profound journey of discovery, he tells of a philosophy. We become what we think about. And this simple message has impacted many, including leaders around the globe. His personality and he discovered philosophy was the epitome of his life, and he lived what he preached, leading by examples, and he created great success wherever he went and teaches us how to go and do likewise. During this compounding successful period, at only the age of 29, he read the book Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Some of you may have read this, and he was suddenly struck by the realization that we become what we think about. It was such a revelation to him that all of the cogs fell into place. Those simple 6 words he's read finally answered the questions he had been trying to understand since he was a child. What is the secret of success? It was like a bolt out of the blue, and he is remembered as one of the greatest philosophers of his time.
Thank you, Mick. That's absolutely great. I know what I want to work with you on now. We're going to work together on inflection. Very well done, Mick. Inflection means the way we lift up certain words in the sentence to become more expressive. Now, when you start out the speech for me, you give me that this gentleman is one of the greatest modern philosophers, motivational, and human character development successes. There's 3 things there. I need them slightly underlined and lifted so that I can receive the message. You also at one point say to me he was an American radio personality. That helps us to set him in his context in America. Do you see what I mean? We're raising up certain words. Just try it and try and give me. It works if you think those words are more important. So philosophers, motivational, human character development, and the American. And also when you say his name for the first time, Earl Nightingale, you need to just lead that a little bit more. Earl Nightingale, so that we as an audience receive the message. This is all about the communication to us and making the connection. And when you start a speech, not everybody is in a good frame of mind to listen, or sometimes they're a bit distracted. If we want to get the message through, then we have to just gently underline these things as we take the audience with us into our speech. You have a little go, Mick. You started off for me again.
One of the greatest modern philosophers, motivational and human character development successors will have to be Earl Nightingale.
Good. Keep going.
He was an American radio personality and show host, a public speaker and an author, and was considered to be the dean of personal development, partly because of the way he modeled a meaningful existence.
And I think meaningful is very important in that line, don't you? It's not just any existence, it's a meaningful existence. That's an important word. That's a key word. So that's where I would say an inflection comes, a meaningful existence. And it has a little bit of direction. If you think about it like a phrase of music, and the phrase of music comes and it takes wing and it goes and it has a direction. Your sentence has direction like music, so that you're leading the audience with you as you go into the speech. So I would like to hear more, partly because of the way he modeled a meaningful existence. Meaningful is important to me. Yep. I think what you need to do, Mick, is go through your speech script and work out where the key words are, where the most important things are. Because you'll have done the work with the thought, your voice will follow. Your voice is a really clever instrument. It follows your thought patterns. And so if you really work on the most important words to inflect, your voice will follow. And as I say, the real technique is to make those words just seem very important to you. Okay? So give me that one again, please. Let's go from, he was an American radio personality.
He was an American radio personality and show host, a public speaker and an author, and was considered to be the Dean of Personal Development, partly because of the way he modeled a meaningful existence.
Yes, it's different, you see. It's very different. The message that we receive is different. It connects with us because of the way you say the word meaningful. So that is the way I would take this section. And what you've just demonstrated for us as well is that quite often in our speeches, Mick, we have lists of things. Somebody has so many different qualities or has so many different roles. And when we start listing things, we can lose the vocal variety a little bit. It gets a bit blurred. We have to decide what's important and where the expression words, the real key expression words are. I liked that. I'd like to hear a little bit at the end, just as we're rounding up this section with you. Let me just see. Can you do the section? He'd been trying to understand since he was a child. What is the secret of success? Can you find that bit? That's in your last paragraph, isn't it?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Just to round it up for me, and try and feel as you go the most important words to give me.
Those simple words he'd read finally answered the questions he'd been trying to understand since he was a child. What is the secret of success? It was like a bolt out of the blue, and he is remembered as one of the greatest philosophers of his time.
That's it. Okay, Mick, well done. Do you feel you're getting the hang of this now? You're finding it, and that's going really well. Can we have a huge round of applause for Mick for volunteering this evening as well? Jazz hands the work, so on. Very well done. Great work. We're going to move on now, and when you got your file about your engaging voice, when you registered, you had the sheet about tips for before the meeting, and on the other side, it has a few exercises. It's marked exercise sheet. Do you have that one to hand? Because we're going to use it now. What's going to happen is I'm going to model 3 exercises for you. Afterwards, you are going into breakout room for 6 minutes. One person, you'll be in groups of 4 in your breakout. One person will take exercise 1, one will take exercise 2, and 2 people take exercise 3 because that's a dialogue. You'll try out the exercise, and hey, we're in Toastmasters International here. We like feedback. So you're going to commend and recommend to each other. You're going to play around with your vocal variety in a 6-minute breakout, but I want to model the exercises for you first. So I'm going to start off with the one, now I think I left it on the bus. Exercise 1. This is the exercise for rapid changes of thought. And you can see the changes of thought indicated by the little dots in the exercise. So I'll show you what I mean. Okay, here we go. Now I think I left it on the bus. Let's see. I had it at lunch because I remember putting it under my chair. Yes, and the waitress picked it up and gave it to me. And then we went to Debenhams. You see, so that's the rapid change of thought exercise. Number 2 is all about seeing with your voice. Did you know you can see with your voice without even doing any gestures? Here we go. I can't quite reach. It's just too far. Wait, hold on. If I stretch a little, hold my foot, will you? That's right. Look out, I'm slipping. Help, hang on. Whew. That was a near thing. So you're seeing with your voice, you're creating the picture. And the last one is the little dialogue. And I like to think of them as burglars trying to get into a house. Here we go. Are you there? Yes. It's all right. They're asleep. The stairs. Talk softly. I was only going to say the stairs squeak horribly. Have you got everything? I think so. I was terrified of making a noise. Look out, you're going to drop. Oh! So you've got a dialogue there. You've got exercise 1, rapid changes of thought, exercise 2, sing with the voice, and exercise 3, the dialogue to play with. You go into your breakout rooms now. We're going to time 6 minutes, and then you'll be back in the main room afterwards. Get the chance to say hello, decide who's doing which exercise, commends and recommends, please. Off you go. Have a good time. And I'll stay with you, Viral.
All breakout rooms are open. Get going into them.
Yeah. Good stuff. Good stuff. I know we're running very slightly behind time, but I'll try and pick it up for you, okay? Because we must do this exercise. We haven't done badly. We haven't done badly at all.
I think we're
It's just sometimes with backwards and forwards and things, but we're not wildly behind.
Cyril, am I going into a breakout room or staying here?
Up to you. I can put you into
No.
one. It's in.
Well, no, only if the numbers look a bit weird in some of the rooms.
Priya is still out here. She was assigned. Okay.
That's fine. I really don't mind.
Yeah, I thought like you might want to stay here. Right?
No.
I just took.
No, that's fine. We've got Anish Mehta.
Yeah, I'll assign him to a room.
What I'm going to do at the end of the breakout, when they're all back, is yes. I'm going to do just a very brief word about the pauses. I'm going to do the summing up poem, and then I'm going to give you the time because I want you to advertise the club. All right? And then we go and we have our little 3 or 4 minute break.
Get a couple. Fill our water bottles, you mean?
Yes, fill our water bottle.
Yes. No copy.
And I think, is it okay during the break, I can play that music?
You can.
You can try.
You'll be the one that calls us to order. Anyway, Vera, won't you? You'll be the one that calls us to order afterwards.
Exactly.
And then I hope Sonal and Bridget are briefed just to take on, to go and lead the table topics. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they'll go straight in. They're not expecting me to say anything. In other words, they just go in and then I do my stuff after.
I think you might have to say that they're doing.
Okay, so I'll invite Sonal and Bridget. Okay, I'll invite them on stage.
So one will do 3.
I didn't know how you briefed them, so I'm quite happy to do either.
I hadn't really briefed them except to prepare 3 table topics. I hadn't said who's going to all get.
That's lovely, and that's going to work out well with our timing this evening. So. Yeah,
and I also thought you got variety of sound as well. 2 different speakers, that might help.
Yes, that's the nice thing, isn't it? It's a different way of learning again. People are learning actively, they're learning passively, they're seeing different ways of doing things. And
there's so much to learn about voice. I feel like
yes.
There's so much.
We could go on forever. I mean, what I do in this session is the real basis. And then, obviously things have to move on and there are things that are bespoke because everybody's different. So I have to do something that everybody can reach and everybody can,
Yeah, I think if people walk away with just the message that they can work with their voice and connect it to their words, because I don't think I always connect. I write the words and then I don't always connect to the words. I don't know why.
Yeah, and it's funny, isn't it? We write the words ourselves, but when it comes to actually saying them.
Yeah, is that quite common then? People write it in as it's written as a speech. You're not writing a story, you're writing it as a speech, but somehow you can't connect it. I don't know why.
It happens. It certainly happens, a lot. But I think people get better over a period of time with it, but it does happen.
Yeah, I'm one of them.
And the other thing that happens, though it hasn't been happening too much tonight, is that people put on a persona when they start to speak. So you'll be having nice, relaxed conversation with someone, and you get to know them, you get to know their ethos. And then someone, when they come to the speaking space, different.
2 minutes to go in the breakout room.
That's fine. We're going to be, we might be roughly 4 minutes late going to break, but that's not too bad, is it?
Not too bad, no. And then I
think people will tolerate that with us.
I'll have this surprise music. It's Toastmasters.
That'd be great, Vera. You did a good opening. I'll just say to you while they're not back, what did I put for your opening? I thought your voice was very clear in your opening. I wrote it down for you, see? At the beginning, can you get a bit more physically engaged and energized? Because you were great at getting the room going. After about 1 minute in your introduction, you suddenly thought, well, I'll get the room going. And then everything sprang into life. Your voice came to life. You came to life. There was energy. The first minute was a little bit too laid back for me, and therefore your voice wasn't functioning fully. So don't be frightened, especially if you're doing this role for the club as well. Sometimes you'll be on Zoom and to really launch the energy for yourself, because it helps you with your breath, helps you with your voice and your speaking. And as I was saying, we do underestimate how much energy we need to get it through the lens. People tend to think because they're online that you just kind of...
It's laid back.
It's too laid back. It's too laid back. It takes a lot of energy to give a workshop like this, or to do a role like you're doing this evening.
Yes.
Yeah. It's about not dropping the energy. It's just keeping it flowing, keep flowing. We don't need to exaggerate anything, but it's just flowing and lively. Yeah.
Thanks.
So that's what I have for you. I promised you I'd give you some evaluation, and I have.
Thank you, very much appreciated.
Good use of time.
Yes.
Exactly. I was
10
there with my pen.
seconds to go. 9, 8, 7.
Good, they're coming back.
6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
Let's have them all back. Here they come. It's great. Here you all come. You let me know when everyone's back, Viral, please.
Yes.
Andrew.
Okay.
Good.
I somehow managed to get into a room that had 3 other, well, it was 4 of us. One lady wasn't well, and she didn't have, and the other 2 never came on. So I just did the thing by myself.
So you did the exercises. Oh, that's been a shame.
And chatted with a lady who wasn't feeling well.
Anyway, never mind, Hazel. Could we mute now, please? Okay, if everybody mutes. That's lovely. Are we all there, Viral?
Yeah, just a minute when
no worries.
everything closes down. Yeah, just give a minute.
No worries.
Andrew, if we drink Grand Marnier or wine, is it good for the voice or not?
Not in the middle of the workshop. After workshop.
All right. I'm sorry then. I will
Good try, Odile. Very good try. Yes, you can have a little water while you're sat there, while we're just waiting for everyone to come back. We like lots of water in this workshop.
Yes, Andrew, I'm always, when I'm speaking, my mouth dries out a lot in between the speeches.
Important.
And I usually try to take a sip before.
Okay, we have more folks joining us. As you join us, please mute. That's good. Are we all there? How are we doing?
Yeah, Andrew, we are all in.
Yes. Lovely. That is absolutely great. Thank you, Viral, for that, transferring us to the breakout rooms. I hope you all had a lot of fun. In a few moments, we're going to be taking our break. But I wanted, first of all, to say a word about this. Pauses. After this workshop, you will be receiving my document, which I wrote for you, about use of pauses. Now, in Toastmasters, when people are starting out, we give people very good advice. We say, use a pause rather than a filler word like an or an ah. But one day, we need to progress beyond that, because pauses can be of different sorts. You have a dramatic pause when you've created an effect. You might have a suspensory pause where the meaning goes beyond the end of the sentence. And you all know the grammatical pause, the one where you get commas and full stops and you're wanting to make sense of the sentence. So there are different types of pauses, and when you get my document, you'll be able to read those and practice those as part of your vocal variety. Pauses have their place in a voice workshop. They are part of vocal variety. I want to round up the first section with a little poem. Now, this poem was written by a man called William Aitken. Excuse me, I'm just going to turn my timer off there, a man called William Aitken, who was a president of the Association of English Singers and Speakers many, many, many years ago. And it talks about all the different parts of the body we've used in our work on our voices in this first half. So I suggest you just shut your eyes and relax. And as I go through the parts of the body, you can just think about them. It's a little mindfulness exercise. Okay, there you go. Get nice and comfy. My soul is in my breath, and with my breath I will lift up my voice in speech. For my breath shall be turned into sound, and I will pour forth my voice even from the depths of my lungs. And the sound shall be made true and steadfast by the security of my breath and the watchfulness of my senses that hear from within. My neck shall be as a temple around the sound, and its spaces shall expand to adorn every phrase with fullness of tone. The inner portal shall be open wide, for in my throat there'll be no constriction. About the outer gate, my lips and jaws and tongue shall play with all the supple freedom of a graceful dance, and bring to life the beauties of my speech. Thus I will speak with my breath as with my soul, sharing the language of my life. For I am in my breath, in my voice. All will hear me and understand. And gently open your eyes now and you can come back to us. That's lovely. I'm going to hand over to past President Kavita, who I believe is going to just give us a little announcement about Watford speakers. Thank you for the first half. After Kavita's announcement, we'll go into our break and then we'll come back for our Table Topics Bonanza.
Thank you, Andrew. Just want to say just a really big welcome to you guys, to Watford speakers. This whole presentation, this whole workshop is a part of Toastmasters International, and it's really been done as courtesy of Watford speakers. So Watford Speakers is part of Toastmasters, and in Toastmasters, you learn about public speaking, and you learn about public speaking in a safe environment. Public speaking to me, I've been doing Toastmasters for 7 years, is like a muscle. You know, you have to keep practicing again and again and again. And often what happens in public speaking is we actually get to do public speaking in a like a workshop at work, and then you really never get to practice in a safe environment, and where you actually get to practice is in real life. So what you find in Toastmasters, you really get to practice, you get loads of support. And one key thing about Toastmasters and Watford speakers is everything we do gets evaluated. Just like Andrew has been evaluating me as a speaker, evaluated Mick, and that's the sort of support you get. So anybody out there who's not a Toastmaster already or of another club but wants to join us, please stick around at the end and we'll give you some more information. It'd be lovely to have you on board. I assure you, we create that safe environment for you all. Thank you. So 3-minute break, is it? 3-minute break, guys. Go and get a sip of water or water. Are you allowed coffee, Andrew? Just water. See you in 3 minutes, guys.
But to keep our guests entertained, this is what we have. Let's get dancing, everyone. Come on. On your chair, or if you're standing, you know, you're going to have fun.
When I was asked to take the floor and speechify, did you think I'd tremble? Did you think my mouth would get too dry?
This 3 minutes before Andrew gets into some more serious stuff. Isn't it, Andrew?
I've got lots of honest folks who will help me vet my jokes. Yeah, I've got pride, Toastmasters pride.
There were times when I lost faith and I began to doubt. It seemed like there were no more topics left to talk about. All my courage disappeared, all my metaphors were weird, but I persevered. Toastmasters, help me face my fears. Now you see me, a DTM. I'm so distinguished I can lecture with the best of them. I got my timing to a T, and my grammarian loves me, and I can stand up self-assured and just be who I wanna be. I once was bad. I couldn't toast. I used to blink a lot. I used to stand there like a post. Wasn't I the one who had trouble saying hi? So do I tremble? Do you think I'm still so awfully shy? Oh no, not I. No, not I. Toastmasters pride. I'm much stronger
Stop
and
over
I'm
here.
Oh, that was good, Vero.
We like that.
Why did you stop me? I was enjoying it.
You finally got.
I'll send you all the link so you can enjoy it. This link was from 2018, and I think it's amazing what Toastmasters gets up to you. And
Oh yes,
magic.
I think we need a new one.
If you haven't been to Toastmasters before, if you're joining us for the very first time tonight, you're about to see really that we are quite a lot of fun, and we have a lot of fun and a lot of laughter in Toastmasters.
Mm-hmm.
We do lots of serious work, but we have lots of fun and lots of laughter along the way. Right, so we're coming into our second half now, and our second half is going to be a session of improvised speaking. We call it Table Topics, and I am going to give feedback, voice feedback, to our topic speakers. I have two splendid topics masters who are going to lead the way for us this evening and give us the topics they've chosen, and they are Sonal and Gigit. So I'm going to mute, and Sonal and Bigit, this is your moment. You take over, please.
Thank you, Andrew. Fellow Toastmasters and welcome guests. Every day we engage in impromptu conversations with people, whether it's a client at work or a friend you bump into. Some people find small talk easier than others. Table Topics is the time during the Toastmasters meeting when we practice thinking on our feet and organizing our thoughts. During this session, the Table Topics Master, who happens to be me in this instance, will ask a question and call on somebody in the audience to answer it. That person has 1 to 2 minutes to answer the question. During that time, it's a good idea to keep an eye on the timer, who happens to be Anu in this instance. And Anu will show a green card at 1 minute, which is when the minimum speaking time for the question to be answered, an amber at 1.5 minutes, and a red background when it's 2 minutes, when it's time to wrap up your answer. The theme for my questions today is how to turn a negative situation into a positive one. Albert Einstein said, "In the middle of every difficulty lies an opportunity." Keeping that in mind, I ask the audience and participants to give a positive twist to the scenario in my questions. My first question is, if you just crashed your car into the garage door, how would you tell your spouse or partner why this is actually good news? And that first question goes to Step Mikey Dash.
Good evening. Hi, everyone. Oh my goodness. What's happened here? Oh gosh. Cars just crashed. Things are just all over the place. You know what? Don't worry. This is all going to be okay. This is meant to be. Things happen for a reason. Stay positive. look into the future. We can buy a new car. We can fix it. We take it to the engineer or someone to look at the car, and then be able to fix it again. Keep smiling, because there's nothing to worry about. Thank you very much. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Steph. Any excuse to buy a new car, eh? My second question, imagine you are a teenager and you fail an exam. How would you tell your parents and make it sound like it's actually not that big a deal? And that question would go to Joy from London.
Madam Table Topics Master, fellow Cardinals, fellow Toastmasters, and most welcome guests. Great question. I know exactly what I would do, because I've got 2 children and I know what they do. So, of course, the first thing is, everybody failed it. The whole class and everybody is in absolute uproar. And it's all because of the teacher. The teacher has not been appearing in class. And now that we're on virtual, the teacher's is only giving 1 lesson a week. So we didn't get the right hours and everyone failed and everyone's complaining. Or the other option is to say, it was really hard. It was unbelievable. It was the hardest tests they have ever had. And, Mom, on Instagram, everyone's discussing how this year, those tests were the hardest tests we've ever had. So yeah, I would just literally use the analogy of my children, and I've heard those 2 options before. The one option in summary, which is that everyone failed, and the other option in summary is it was the hardest exam we have ever seen and in history. So, Madam Table Topics Master or Mistress.
Thank you very much for that, Joy. We can see this is a real life experience for you. Well done. Thank you. So going on to the third question. You have a lovely house, but it's near a swamp. How would you try to sell it to a potential buyer and make it sound like it's actually a really nice place to live? And that question goes to Anoop. I think we've lost Anoop. Is Anoop there?
Sorry, I'm still here. Sorry, do you mind just repeating the question once again?
Yeah, sure. You have a lovely house, but it's near a swamp. How would you try to sell it to a potential buyer as a really nice place to live?
I really have a very beautiful house near to a swamp, and it's a really nice house where you can spend your evenings near to the swamp and have some quality time in the house. I'm not sure what I will buy, but yeah. I'm gone.
Thank you, Anoop.
Thank you, Anoop.
Okay, folks, I think I come in and I give some feedback to the first 3 speakers, if I may, Birgit, before you go on. And Sonal, thank you very much for those topics. They were great. Thank you. So I have some vocal feedback for our first speakers. We had Sep, who was going to make out that it was good news that the car had crashed because he was going to be able to buy a brand new one. This had a good start. I would quite like Sep to practice his voice without the headset. I'll tell you for why. We've been working a little bit on our ear today and adjusting our voice with our ear. And I'm a little bit frightened sometimes when we've got the headset on that we don't truly get the reflection of our sound. Already, we don't quite hear the way our audience hears us because we have the captor and we have the inner ear. And maybe the headphones just occasionally add an extra complication. There was also a little bit of rocking backwards and forwards, which isn't quite so good for the core stability we need for our breath. So great, if we want to move towards the camera, let's do it. Make the point, or if we're going to move, we move with a purpose. But we want really to be nice and stable for our breathing and for our voices to function well. But this was a great fun topic, and yes, what a wonderful idea that, car's crashed. I can get a new one now. Fantastic, Sep. The teenager topic came to us from Joy tonight. Now, a slice of real life. We've been there with teenagers. I love the smile. The smile of Joy influences the quality and tone of her voice, and I like that very much. It's immediately engaging, and we hear it, not just see it. So that's very, very good. I would have liked her to become the teenager, and to do and give us the vocal variety kind of voice that the teenagers give us when they're explaining. Really, it was such a hard exam. Everybody failed this exam, Mum. Everybody failed it. It's nothing. Everybody's failed this. No, it doesn't mean anything. And just play, because I think you can get much more expression by adopting the character in this kind of table topic. But once she did start to switch into the persona of the teenager, then things really started to hot up and happen with the range and with the quality of the voice. And Anoop came to us with a topic. I suspect that might have even been Anoop's very first table topic. So really, really well done for him for joining in this evening. That's always good. If you don't join in, you can't learn. So we're really impressed to see you joining in this evening, Anoop. And this was about the swamp and the house. Yeah, what I would encourage with table topic is we take the idea and we just pursue it. And it was great. It started out really well, this idea. I've got this house, and then I would expand a little bit more vocally, and I'd say, and well, it is next to a swamp, but that doesn't matter in the slightest because, in the summer months, it's really nice living next to a swamp with all the mosquitoes and the flies, and play around with it, make the opposite happen, and we can enjoy the vocal quality. But well done, Anoop, for making a start and standing up and doing a table topic tonight. That's great. I'm now handing back to Birgit for her table topics. I'm looking forward to hearing those.
Thank you, Andrew. My table topics today are looking more on the culinary side of things and finding out a little bit about your likes and dislikes. It is Pancake Tuesday today. And how do you like your pancakes? What kind of topping? And that question goes to Liz Dorr. Welcome, Liz.
Thank you so much. I love talking about food. It is one of my favourite things. So I was so happy when you picked me. So what pancakes do I like? Well, I always have this dilemma on Pancake Day. Do I want savoury pancakes because I rather enjoy those, or do I go for sweet pancakes? The traditional ones with lemon and sugar. I didn't do so well this year. I meant to buy some pancakes on Saturday when I did my once a week shop, because you're not supposed to go out for anything other than essentials. And I wandered around the shop and I thought I'll get some ready-made pancakes this year because I live on my own, and that's easier than trying to make the batter and make them. And I failed to get any. So I had no pancakes at all this year. So I'm feeling very like I'm missing out. But I will have to make up for that in the future. So when I do, I think I'm going to go traditional. It'll be the lemon and the sugar because I missed the actual day.
Thank you very much, Liz. Thanks for that lovely idea of the lemon and the sugar. Our next topic is something for the people who like desserts or those who like savory. What is this going to be at the end of the dinner? Are you Mr. and Mrs. Chocolate, or are you Mr. and Mrs. Cheese? And that question goes to Clifford. Welcome, Clifford.
Thank you, Birgit. Well, I love my food and I really enjoy a good meal. An excellent starter, main course, and then of course the dessert. The choice, well, I can either go for savoury and cheese with a few grapes with it and the odd biscuit as well. And it would have to be a mixture of cheeses, something quite gooey like camembert, something quite subtle, maybe a brie, and also something quite strong tasting as well, with a bit of a kick to it, maybe a Stilton. And of course, we have to have cheddar as well, a nice, mature, strong tasting cheddar. But I don't stop there, because I also like my sweet things. And I've got particular desire always to finish a meal with some apples, maybe an apple crumble, a tart tatin, or apple and blackberry pie, apple cake, or with custard. Well, apart from in the summer where I replace the custard with ice cream. But do I go for the apple dessert, or do I go for the cheese and the savoury? The answer is, I always go for both. Why choose? Why not have both at the same time? That's the best way to finish off a really good meal. Oh, apart from the glass of port right at the end, of course.
That sounds absolutely fabulous. Thank you. And yes, it is a hard choice to do. And of course, the port at the end of the meal. And who cares whether a glass is half empty or half full, whether you see it one way or the other? What is important is, what do you choose at the end of a long day of work? What do you choose to treat you with? And that question goes to Roxana Khan. Please welcome Roxana.
Thank you, Madam Table Topics Master. At the end of a long, hard day, toiling at my job and taking care of my house, I need a treat. My treat has to be something sweet. A sweet treat for me, please. Well, I'll tell you a secret. When I come back from the UK, right now I'm in Doha, I stuff my hand trolley with bags of sweets, because you get the best sweets in the world in the UK. You know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about Smarties. I'm talking about Bourneville buttons. I'm talking about Jelly Tots. All of these sweet treats help me to relax at the end of my day. I know some of you might be thinking, yeah, but that's sugar. What's it going to do? She's going to be hyper. She's not going to get to sleep. No, that's not the case for me. For me, sugar does the trick. It helps me relax. It helps me feel happy and at peace. I don't need and I can't even drink a glass of port or brandy or whatever else some of you might be having last thing in the day. So any day of the week, you can give me a little sweet treat and I'll be a very, very happy girl. Madam Table Topics Master.
Thank you, Roxana. Thanks. And Andrew, can I hand over to you?
Thank you, Birgit, for those topics. That was splendid. So we had our very first speaker, who was Liz Dorr, and she hit the ground running with that topic. She didn't have any hesitations. She was right there on this topic of pancakes and which flavour to have. What I would like from Liz tonight was more playing around on the idea. We had savoury and sweet, but they both sounded the same to me. I would like something that's savoury and something that's very sweet and slightly different. Let's find a way with our thoughts and with our voices to contrast the two. Let's play with contrast as much as we can, because it really keeps the listener engaged and interested in what we're going to say. So let's play with the contrasts. There was a lovely sense of freedom to this voice this evening. This is a nice, strong voice. I would just add a little bit more warm resonance by doing the man in the moon exercise we played with earlier on this evening. That's the exercise I think would be really good for Liz tonight, but excellent table topic. Clifford came to us with his chocolate and cheese and he gave us a huge range of vocal variety there. Wow, that was impressive. And I could tell he'd been doing his voice exercises with us this evening because his voice was what I call nicely settled on the body, because we've worked on our breath and we've worked on getting some depth into the tone, so that was really good. There was a great pause with a change of pace at one point as well, which I particularly liked. I would like a little bit more playing around and expression with the final question, which leads to the affirmation sentence at the end of the topic as it was given. But this was a really, really strong contender, and I was most impressed with that topic this evening from Clifford. And our last one was Roxana. Now, Roxana is at the end of a long day and she's sat there and she's beautifully poised and she's talking to us about all these wonderful sweets. And I think we can play with those different sweets. You know, the Smarties and the Bourneville Buttons and Jelly Tots. I want to be able to taste them a bit more. They were beautifully listed in a calm way, but I'd like to feel that she's tasting them as she says them. Do you remember what we were doing earlier on in the workshop about really making certain words important to us? Well, I would like to taste those different sweets coming through the screen at me this evening. We got more animated at the point where she spoke about sugar, which was great. We took the topic back to a sense of peace towards the end, and that was great. We do have to be careful about the energy level going through the camera, though. Even though we're going to talk about something that's peaceful, there still has to be something going on physically in our bodies, with our breath, with our thoughts, to get it through the lens. However, this was a masterful table topic. I wouldn't expect anything else from Roxana. And if you get the chance to go to her table topics workshop, you really should. So look out for that one. I'm really thrilled with our topic speakers tonight. I wanted to thank you all our speakers, our topics masters, our timekeeper, who was Anu this evening as well. Thank you for welcoming me into Watford Speakers this evening to present your engaging voice. You, as guests and participants, have achieved an awful lot tonight. If you think where we started out, we were working on our posture, we were starting to work on our breath, we started to make resonant sounds, we explored feelings, emotions, making and creating with our voices. Please take what we've done this evening and apply it to your speeches. As I say, you'll be getting 2 articles from me after this workshop. Apply it to your speeches, be they inside Toastmasters or, even more importantly, outside Toastmasters presentations. Just make all this mean something, make it mean something to you, play with it, enjoy it. Enjoy practicing and experimenting with your voice. I've been really delighted to offer you this workshop. Thank you to every single person one question I did have in the chat was, do I recommend any books about voice? There are lots and lots. The only one I will recommend within Toastmasters International is the little book called Your Voice, which comes from Toastmasters International. It was part of our historical program. We're now in something called Pathways, but this book does still exist, and I believe you can even order it maybe for free from toastmasters.org and headquarters. It's called Your Voice. It's a very basic voice book, but it gives you what you need, and you'll have my article as well to pursue things further. Okay, thank you very much. I am now going back to our president for this evening, who is Coralie Francis, and she is going to close the meeting with her closing remarks. But thank you, everybody, for all you've done.
Thank you so much, Andrew. They say that delivery is the most important part of speaking. And what do we deliver with? We deliver with our voice. It is so important. And I think myself, and I would think everybody else, is now going to reflect so much on, do their words actually match the content? Are we putting the emphasis in the right place? How are we breathing? And it's going to give us so much in our speeches. And I'm so grateful to you, Andrew. Thank you so very, very much. I would also like to thank Kavita, who's worked incredibly hard organising this workshop, and for thinking in the first place and saying, oh, we've got to have Andrew improve our voices. So thank you so much, Kavita. I know how hard you've worked. I'd also like to thank all our committee who've worked tonight and behind the scenes, and all those brave people who've taken part tonight. It's been brilliant. So thank you to everybody, all our guests, for joining us. I hope you may consider joining Watford Speakers. If you're not already a Toastmaster, I hope you will consider joining Toastmasters, because it gives you so much. And with Toastmasters, the more you put in, the more you get out. So throw yourselves in. I believe we're going to go for breakout rooms now. Am I right, Viral, that we're going to stay on longer for anybody who wants to chat, or are we going to stay in the main room?
Yeah, thank you, Coralie. Anybody who wants to have a few words with Andrew, do message me, and I can assign a breakout room to you for 5 minutes, 4 people in a room. Anybody who wants to learn more about Watford Speakers or Toastmasters, we've got our Vice President of Membership, Priya, over here, and she's at hand to have further discussions with you. So message me. Otherwise, the floor is open for any discussions, across other party, other clubs. We've got a member from Doha, any other international members who have joined us to speak out. It's always good to hear from new other clubs and other members. Thank you.
Yes, hi. We are from Curacao. We are representing a club called Genesis Online Toastmasters, a new club that's been formed very recently, been chartered in January actually. And my husband is also here too. He's sitting across the room from me. And we also have another member in the crowd, Leandra and Shirley actually. So it's a pleasure for us to be here today. Great, fantastic. Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you, Hazel, and Philip, and all the gang. We're pleased to see you.
I think you can unmute if you want to
Yes,
join in the conversation. Now's your opportunity.
Yes,
to show off that
Andrew,
vocal variety.
Yes, it's a lot to put together, especially the breathing, which I did notice a difference after practicing it. And I have to work on that That's for sure. And also the sort of the opposites, what is it? To emphasize on some words that will also give a lot of impact. And that's also, I learned quite a lot, and I just look forward to your follow-up in the notes that you're going to send us. It's definitely going to practice.
Oh, that's good to hear. I love to hear that people are going to practice.
Yes, and thank you very much, Madam President, from Watford Speakers, for inviting us. Thank you ever so much.
My pleasure. You're very welcome. And yes, I'm looking forward to receiving the work afterwards as well, Andrew, because that's the way to expertise, mastery is practice, practice, practice. As Kavita said earlier, it's about a muscle, improving voice muscles, improving your mind muscle, and you can't learn to swim without getting in the water. And it's the same with speaking, public speaking. You've got to get up there and speak, otherwise you're not going to practice. You're going to stall.
The nice thing is, the more times that you go into the speaking space, the better it gets for you. When people start out very nervous, and we have people that come to us who are not members of Toastmasters, and they come and they start their journey of Toastmasters with us, and quite often they are very apprehensive and very nervous about speaking for the first time. And then the more that you come into that speaking space, the more you practice, the more time you feel you have. So you're less panicked because you get used to running and using time. And that's a really important thing too. And everything starts to improve: your voice, your presentation. It's great.
I think
Practice,
Sam
practice.
has his hand up. Sam has his hand up.
Hi, Sam.
Hi, Sam. Hi, Andrew. Thank you very much. Well, thanks to the Watford speakers as well for organizing this workshop. As I said, I'm not a Toastmaster, and it certainly has generated an interest, and I will be looking into it clearly, as I think it fits a lot of things which I'm looking for. A question which I had for you, Andrew, was when one is speaking, sometimes I find my voice to get to a bit of a higher pitch when actually I want to bring it down. So are there any voice exercises, apart from the helpful ones that you suggested, which one should be doing? Thank you.
Okay, Sam. Well, a lot of people have this situation where when they start public speaking and going into a context, giving a presentation, I'm hearing a lot of echo. There we are, that's better. Okay, so a lot of folks, when they start presenting in public, start to feel their voices drifting up higher and higher because of the nerves. If you can get a grip of what I said right at the beginning of the workshop, if you remember, I said if you can go into a corner and practice that nice low rib breath, just gently, already you have more poise and your voice will start to settle onto that breath. And do you remember we did those mixed, consonants and vowel exercises, me, me, ma, mo. They allow you to explore a lower resonance. There's another one that you can do as well, which is just, we call that sirening. What happens in sirening is you take a note, you take it down as far as it can go. It doesn't matter if it breaks off a little bit sometimes, but just as long as you've got the right kind of breathing behind it. A couple of those, and you start to settle your voice, and your voice comes into the nice comfy zone, and you're not panicking. It's often because we're getting tight around our shoulders, tight around our chest because of the nerves, that the voice starts to tighten up and go up there. So that's what I would say, Sam.
Hi, thank you very much.
Andrew, can I just ask you about the rib exercise you were mentioning? I was can you go over it again just one more time?
So I have to find a way in the workshop of getting you into the right breathing sensation quickly, because otherwise we can't progress. So this is the way that I do it. I've got another colleague of mine as well who does it this way too. He's kind of copied it off of me now. People copy you. So I take a thumb and I put it under my lowest rib at the side, just at the bottom of the rib cage, but at the side. so that you're going to feel the expansion when you breathe in, you see. And I take my other finger, which is the next finger to it, and I put that in the socket of my hip. I make sure that my shoulders are back and relaxed because I don't want them getting involved. Okay? And then breathe out. And when I breathe in, I can feel lift and expansion at the rib cage. Yeah?
Okay.
The less you get your shoulders into it, the better. The more it's down into the rib cage, the better.
Thank you.
You can see a little bit, I mean, there's a little bit of lift on my shoulders. That's just because I'm relaxed. But when I'm opening at the rib cage, I can actually basically do it without doing much with my shoulders at all. And that helps us not to get into this high chesty breath that we tend to get into.
Thank you.
Okay, Anu? Thank you.
I recognize one of our ex-presidents who was also or still a DTM. May I just call him on to say something? That would be Steve Brewer from Experience French. Come on, Steve.
Yeah. Hey, Mick, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm okay.
How is everybody? So what's been really, really nice is to see WAFA speakers still going from strength to strength. One of the key things that I really enjoyed about WAFA speakers is the educational sessions that they bring. They used to bring 1 or 2 educational sessions per year, bringing in guests, bringing in excellent speakers into play. And I have to say this, I've been at Toastmasters for 9 years, 10 years now, and I've been to a number of presentations, such as table topics, evaluations, all of these types of things. And tonight, I've really found this presentation, this course, really, really useful, really, really encouraging for me as a fairly experienced Toastmaster, and to know that I don't know everything, and there are things that I can learn all the time. And that's the wonderful thing about Toastmasters. You can keep learning and learning all through your journey as a public speaker. So it's just improving that level all the time. So I'd just like to say thank you very much to WAFA Speakers for hosting, and thank you very much to Andrew, who is also a member of my club. So he's going to keep an eye on me to make sure that I keep practicing as well. So I'm really, really pleased that I've had the opportunity to be here with you tonight. And thanks again, WAFA Speakers, and thanks again, Andrew.
Thank you, Steve. Do you know, it's true, we always learn something. I've always feel that I learn at every single meeting I attend. There's something I pick up. There's a speaker who's got something that maybe I haven't got, or there's something, you always learn something. Sometimes you see something that maybe you don't think is quite the right way of doing things, but you learn from it. We all learn from watching each other and from hearing each other. And if you're new to Toastmasters this evening, as Sam is and a few others of you may be, we are a really encouraging learning environment. We all work together to get the result for each individual member, which is a lovely thing.
If I can jump in there, and Steve, as you are our past president for Watford Speakers, I would also like to invite you to our meeting, and do join us when the time permits. Well, we are open. And it's nice to meet you on Zoom. And on behalf of Watford Speakers, we definitely would like to invite you to our meetings.
Thank you very much. I would love to come. It's been a long time since I've been a WAFA speaker, so I'd love to make an appearance.
Hey.
Thank you very much.
We have
very welcome.
We have Sonal's hand up for the past 5 minutes.
Oh, sorry,
Yes,
sorry,
hi.
Sonal.
That's okay, Viral. Andrew, if I may ask you a question. Thank you, first of all, for a really amazing workshop. And we've definitely all learned a lot. But question for you being that I'm actually quite softly spoken generally, and when we are in the actual meeting scenario, when we're all able to meet again, and we're in a proper room, which is the best way, or is there a particular technique to project your voice so that the people at the end of the room can actually hear you?
Right. Thank you for that question, Sana, because we're all different and we're all slightly different as characters and personalities. Some people are more softly spoken than others. It's fine. It's fine. I do not speak very much about projection, because I find if we talk about projecting our voice, throwing our voice, whatever it is, people start blocking the muscles that they need to use their voices effectively, because they're trying too hard to get their voices across. So what I would say to you is that if you take the exercises in the article that you're going to have, okay, and you work on those resonant sounds that we worked on tonight, gradually, naturally, with the coordination of your breath and the work on resonant sounds, your voice will travel more easily in a room. It takes practice, okay? It's going to take a little while, and always remember your water as well before you start, and go and have a little warm-up. One of the things about doing this warm-up routine, if you've got a presentation to give, be it outside Toastmasters or in, sorry, that's the ambulances going by. If you've got a presentation to give, is once you've done your warm-up, you've done some humming and you've done some of those nice me-ma-mes and played around with the sounds, try out the first lines of your speech, so that you've already tried it out before you go into the speaking space. Just apply the learning to the first phrases, because then when you go in, it's not as if you're going in cold. Because I think sometimes when people freeze a bit vocally, it's because they go in cold to the speech. And also, I think it's important in terms of the other side of the work we were doing tonight. We were talking about vocal expression and intention. And the speech goes on inside of us much longer than we think. It doesn't just start at the meeting. We carry it to the meeting, and we carry the speech inside of us to the speaking space so that we can offer it to our audience. So if you do some of the warm-up exercises, a bit of the breathing, and then try out to yourself in a little corner some lines of your speech, you'll soon find that your voice is starting to respond. And as I say, the more you go into the speaking space, the more you practice with everything linked up, the posture, the breath, vowels, the consonants, everything resonating, the stronger your voice will become. And you won't need to think about pushing it out or projecting it into the room, because you're going to resonate. And that'll be nice. Takes a while. It's a coordination. It's like when you first start riding your bike. Okay?
Thank you.
Thanks for the question, Sana, because that's one that is important for an awful lot of people.
Talking about riding a bike, Andrew, I've had to do some pre-recorded lectures for my students, and I'm not that techie, not that used to Microsoft Teams and technology. It's all a steep learning curve for me, and I find that actually getting the recording going, I'm having a problem with the screen sharing. And then I get into the lecture, and that's fine. I've got my script, and I deliver my lecture. And then I have a problem stopping the recording. So I said to my colleagues at work, it's a bit like riding a bike. I'm fine when I'm actually on the bike and riding, but actually getting on to do the lecture and getting off again with all this technology is not great.
I'm amazed at how we've learned to manage it, though, in such a short space of time, because I wouldn't say I'm not great with the technology, really. I mean, I know a fair amount now about Zoom, and I've learned things, and thank goodness we've all educated each other in Toastmasters, haven't we? There are people who've been doing courses for us, who've helped us to learn and done briefings, and I'm thinking people like Ilaria, who's the president at Excalibur, Nick Lacani has done an awful lot to get people onto Zoom. These folks who've educated us in how to do it, because all of a sudden we've got this extra thing to play with, and it could be very distracting, really.
Yeah.
But we're learning to use it and make it part of us, just like our speaking's part of us. So I'm glad it's opened the world to us, hasn't it? Look at the guests we've had this evening coming from different countries. We've got the world open to us with this. Fantastic.
I think it's dragged us screaming and kicking into the 21st century, really, hasn't it? Why do we need to travel so far for meetings, for business? And it's buying us more time, isn't it? Instead of commuting, we can put that time and energy into more things.
I can see a lady waving her hand.
Ingrid. Ingrid.
Hello.
Ingrid. Hi, Ingrid.
Martin invited me and my friend Marilyn along tonight. He wasn't able to come, but I have enjoyed it. Even though, like I said, I'm not feeling my best. I thought, oh no, but I've got to listen and take it in. I was particularly, what's the word? Encouraged by the bit when you were saying about making the characters come alive, living out the characters, because I've watched a number of other speakers online and the way that they engage the audience, it's so powerful to just enter into the minds of those characters, and people are like, what? And I write poetry. A lot of the poetry, I do performance poetry a lot of the time. So again, sometimes it's engaging for kids at high school, but I just thought I wanted to develop my ability as a speaker with the message apart from the poetry, so that when I am making those points, that they're poignant and you take the audience with you and they're eating out of your hands. I'm looking forward to that, and also empowering other people. You know, other groups where I am, where they might, if you say to them, look, why don't you do a talk? They might say, nah, I could never do that. I think it's important to empower the groups you're in, and let them also feel, especially with the technology, like you said, we don't have a choice. They'll have to present for some meeting online like this. And the more empowered they can feel, the more progress they can make. And it builds up that sense of self-esteem and well-being. So I'm all for that.
We had a little exchange in the chat, didn't we? That's nice. In terms of the poetry thing, and we'll look forward to hearing some of your poetry when you're feeling better.
Yes.
Because that would be nice. In a few days, on the 24th in the morning, Wednesday 24th, I'm chairing the speech contest at Berkeley Square Speakers, which is one of my other clubs.
Wow.
And for the ballot counting, we're having Poets' Corner because our president is being published later in the year. We have a past president who does poetry for business. His book's being published in a few months. And we also have a guest who's coming from City Limits, and her book has just been published of poetry. So that's 3 creative people, 3 poets, and they're going to do a Poets' Corner for us during the ballot counting of our competition, which will be really rather nice.
Lovely.
Because we like to give space to our creative people.
Oh, please.
It's good.
I love that.
It's good. So we look forward to you being a bit better, Ingrid.
Yes, when's the next one?
I know it's when you're working on your voice and you're not feeling too good, it's tough. Well done for coming along.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Are you a Toastmaster or not a Toastmaster, Ingrid?
No, this is my first time. Martin normally comes along.
Well done.
Martin Doe. So we missed the last one, but I said I was going to get on it. Sick or not, we're coming, me and Marilyn. So at least we'll be able to feed back to him how it was today as well.
I do hope you will join Toastmasters. You won't regret it.
No, I've heard another friend of mine, she wrote a book called My Happy Child, and she also, again, many accolades from, again, doing Toastmasters. So that's at least 2 people I know who's singing the praises. So why not?
Come along. We also have a youth programme, actually. Funny enough, that's my hat for the district. I'm the advisor on the youth leadership programme. We have a programme where we go into schools and we present speaking skills, and the young people gain experience with speaking skills, and we give them feedback, a bit like we do here, really.
Yes.
But nicely slanted for them, and then they take charge of their meeting. It's great fun. So that's there in Toastmasters as well.
My son took part in that. It was at high school.
Did he?
Mm-hmm.
Ah, good. Was it?
It was a school, Brent school, but I remember.
Right, lovely.
Stay out, so they got a certificate at the end of it.
That's right. Yeah, they get a certificate.
Everyone says they wish they'd joined Toastmasters before, sort of younger, sooner. So your children will have such an opportunity now.
Mm-hmm. To build their confidence. I mean, I think
absolutely, yeah.
One of the things it does is it really helps them to. Sometimes we're in a situation where we have to talk ourselves up a little bit, to get to get into the college place, to get into the next school, to start a job, and we have to talk our way up through the pack because maybe there's a lot of candidates. And one of the things this course does is it gives them the confidence to be able to go in there and just express who they are.
Yes.
In a good way, and in a way that's not too much either, not too sort of arrogant or big-headed, but in a good way to express who they are, so that they can just talk their ways up through the pack. Because it's true, we all have to be able to do this, don't we?
Andrew, Miss Hussein has raised her hand.
Hussein, yes, come and talk to us, Hussein. Sorry, I'm not seeing everybody in a row. That's why I'm not spotting.
I had a quick question, if that's okay.
Hi.
Hi, I'm Jenna.
Hi, Jenna.
Yeah, Miss Hussein, I guess. I had a quick question. So I've noticed sort of by watching speakers online that there's sort of two categories of speaking, sort of conversational, like how I'm doing now, and then there's very dramatic and theatrical, which is I see a lot at Toastmasters, which I haven't even tried. I'm probably horrible at it. But sort of there is a sort of separation between the two. Do you see? You don't think that?
Yeah, I'm interested. I'm really pleased to hear you make the point, because from my point of view, our basic thematic material in most speeches that we're giving is in conversational tone. But it's a slightly bigger than normal conversational tone because it's got to register to the audience. So in certain contexts, we use drama techniques. Okay, we were playing with some tonight. When we were experimenting with emotions and words and using drama techniques. But I would say, Janet, that the drama techniques underline the speaking, but they don't invade it. Now, sometimes, unfortunately, what we see online is people who give very, very dramatized speeches. Now, that may be fine if you're doing a storytelling and you've got 5 different characters and you're going to characterize all those stories. You might do something that's very, very highly dramatized. Or, as I was saying earlier on, dialogues are great for your vocal range and your vocal variety because you can really play with the dialogue. So that's fine. But there are a lot of speeches on other types of topic, motivational speeches, for instance, where people are trying to convince us or persuasive speeches, and in those, I would say that we use the drama skills, but the drama skills are there to underline the speech. They're not there to take it over. And sometimes we don't quite get the balance right. So I would say, yes, I have seen what you're talking about. I have seen it happen. It's all about context, really, isn't it, Janet? It's all about the context that you're speaking in and what the main purpose of that speech is.
Right. On the back of that, that's really interesting that you say that. What do you think is a mistake people make in sort of tipping over and maybe going a bit too dramatic, or maybe not dramatic enough?
Most people need more rather than less. But it only works if you live things, if you live the thought and the feeling inside. If someone does something that's very dramatic, but it's empty, it registers as fake. It's fake. You've got to live it from the inside. You've got to have that in your thought. That connection we were making with our intentions. We did that whole series of exercises about modulation. Changing your thought and seeing with your voice, and this is really to connect you, with your solar plexus as well, to these different changes of mood, atmosphere, and thought that help you to live inside the words. I think you have to. That's the way I would describe it. It's like you're living inside the words that you're saying, and if you really inhabit the words and live inside them, then you won't go too far normally. If you do, well, then we can tell you to tone it down a bit, but you won't go too far because it's something that's real. It has meaning. It comes from inside of you. It's connected. It's sincere. If it's connected and sincere, it's going to work. If it's just people doing a beautiful show for us, then no, it's not always going to register. And sometimes it can be quite aggravating.
Yeah, lovely. Thank you.
Good. Seeing all sorts of nice messages coming up the chat as well.
It's lovely, hasn't it? I think
it's been a nice evening. I think we've done really well this evening, folks. I'm so pleased that you all came along and that you all enjoyed yourselves and threw yourselves into it, because I do ask you to do crazy things. I know I ask you to do crazy things, but for a reason.
You did it in a lovely manner, Andrew, which everybody appreciated. I think probably you'd like to have some rest now, Andrew. And,
I'm going to wind down. Actually, you read my mind. I am going to wind down now.
So can I ask everybody to join me in a big thank you to Andrew, and I'll call the meeting to a close.
Thank you, Coralie. See you again soon, everybody.